Welcome to the Southside Restwood Academy educational Minecraft server. This is how the first video begins on a YouTube channel run by a real school. At first glance, everything about it feels normal. An ordinary school project made for 4 groups of students to learn and play on during the winter break whilst the others are on holiday. But by the final upload, something happens that I still can't explain. Something I don't think was ever meant to be seen outside the school, or maybe by anyone at all. And it all starts in the playlist tab. Group A, Video 1. Which begins with our player Casey greeting their friend Oakley. The two talk casually, with Casey mentioning that she thought she would try the server since she was bored at home during the break. She comments on how she wishes she were on holiday, making it clear that this server exists for students who are still stuck at home while the others are away. After a short exchange about the server, Casey asks Oakley which group they're in. They confirm that they're both assigned to Group A, and the two walk over to the red A marker that designates the group's starting area, before dropping down into the first activity. In front of them are several signs, each with a target placed behind it. Casey opens a chest and finds a book containing a math question. In the surrounding chests are bows and arrows, making it clear how this challenge works. Oakley takes the first shot, aiming at the sign he believes holds the correct answer, but he gets it wrong. Casey narrows the possible answers down to 2, and Oakley tries again, only to miss a second time. Spoiler alert, the correct answer turns out to be $270. Casey gets it first try, and with the challenge completed, the two move on to the next activity, a parkour section that leads to more questions. They joke around briefly, then stop to answer their individual questions, writing their responses into their books. The both of them get their answers correct, and the video ends completely normally, with nothing out of place, no indication that anything is wrong. Although I clicked on the next playlist, and this is where everything truly begins. The video begins from a different player's perspective, this time from someone named Arthur. He appears to be at the same spawn before he sends a few messages in chat. Alright, hello everyone, I guess this is the server. Arthur mentions that it's late, which explains why no one seems to be online. He then checks which group he has been assigned to, confirming that he's a part of Group B. He sarcastically states that they really made a whole Minecraft world before walking toward the first game, which is another parkour, an education parkour as the sign says. Arthur says it's too easy, ironically failing a jump and falling down to a pit with a question. He writes the answer down in his notebook, just like Casey and Oakley did in Group A, and he does get it right. Arthur returns to the beginning of the parkour and tries again, this time making it further, and reaching another sign with the second question. As he continues, he questions whether any of this even counts for anything, mentioning that participation is completely optional, which makes sense since most students probably would not want to spend their winter break on a school-related server. However, he says it's better than doing nothing and continues forward. Midway through the course, Arthur mentions his eyes hurt from staring at the screen for too long, and the time definitely doesn't seem good to be playing Minecraft of all things. He eventually reaches the final sign, answers the last question correctly, and finishes the parkour, running back to spawn and logging off the server to sleep. If this was the only footage on the channel, there wouldn't be a story here, but Group B doesn't stay normal for long. We have to move on to video 2, which once again begins with Arthur at spawn. He walks around for a few seconds, idly looking around the server, before another player named Dalton joins the game. Arthur reacts in chat immediately. Oh great, you're actually on. Dalton responds simply, saying he got bored. Arthur brings up that Dalton said he wouldn't even play, only for him to reply saying Arthur clearly planned on joining regardless. The two immediately fall into casual banter. They clearly know each other well. Looking at the playlist description, Dalton appears to be Arthur's assigned partner for Group A, which explains why the two seem so comfortable messing around. The both of them start making fun of the school for making a server, nearly forgetting that they have to upload the videos on their channel, since they review each video video. Thankfully, Arthur stops himself and Dalton from taking things further, instead resorting to half-serious insults, saying that Dalton would never remember anyway. This quickly turns into more unserious fighting, until Arthur asks him whether he's finished with the first activity yet. Dalton admits that he hasn't and immediately heads off to complete it, getting through the questions quickly before returning to Arthur to move on to the next task, more boring math questions. Arthur writes down the first one on his notebook, only to get it wrong. Dalton hands over his own book to show the correct solution. 15% of 240 is 36. They get past the second question relatively quickly, with Arthur answering it first and finally the last one too, before Dalton says that he's bored and he wants to go build. He asks Arthur what he's planning to do. Arthur just says he's going to leave, and after almost a whole minute of more fighting, Arthur leaves the game with a very generous message and the video ends. Again, there is nothing particularly strange here, just two friends playing around on a school-made Minecraft server, completing assignments and killing time. Nothing really stands out, and I didn't come here to watch math questions being solved. But if anything in this series starts to feel different, it begins in video 3, which once again begins with Arthur at spawn. This time, Dalton doesn't seem to be online. Arthur walks toward his group's section before we get a message by Oakley.
"Oh yo, you here?"
Arthur replies, asking how he's doing, and it's clear the two already know each other. He jokingly shades Dalton, saying he's obviously not online and that the piece is appreciated, assuming Dalton probably logged off quickly. But Oakley's next message is interesting.
"Yo, he was online for real. You was too."
It's unclear what Oakley means by this. He never spoke in the previous video, but it's possible he was present without interacting. Still, the wording is strange and Arthur doesn't really question it. Oakley asks if he wants to meet up, although Arthur hesitates, stating that it might be against the rules to leave their assigned group, but Oakley doesn't seem concerned and heads straight to spawn anyway. The two talk about how empty the server is before Oakley asks him to come to Dalton's house, which means Dalton did build something. Arthur questions if Dalton actually built a house at all, and even wonders if building is allowed on the server. Oakley responds as if this should already be obvious, saying Dalton did build one and that Arthur somehow forgot about it. But the way Oakley speaks about the house almost sounds like Arthur has already seen it. It's probably just Oakley's way of typing, but the exchange feels slightly off. Oakley asks Arthur to follow him, and as they walk, they pass several unfinished activities before a well-built house comes into view. Arthur asks again if Dalton really built this, and the reason for his confusion becomes clear. A large portion of the house is made from blocks that don't appear to be naturally available nearby, mainly pale oak wood, though Oakley seems to know about how Dalton obtained these. Arthur asks how, and he replies saying that Dalton asked an admin for it, which makes sense. Even so, Arthur still seems to be surprised by the house. Oakley goes outside and Arthur follows him, asking how long he's been online for, but Oakley doesn't reply and says that he has to go to the mall to discuss music with Casey, logging off. Arthur stays on the server for a bit longer, typing a few messages to himself.
"Crazy stuff. He built without me. Dude really said enough of waiting."
He wonders if Dalton would even share the house, quickly deciding that he probably wouldn't, and talks about building one himself instead. Eventually, Arthur logs off, saying he's heading out for a tea break. Nothing overly strange happens in this video, but something feels off. It's hard to really pinpoint why, and if there is any way to understand what that feeling means, it's by watching video 4.
"Alright, I'm back."
The video opens with Arthur exactly where he left off, standing near Dalton's house. He walks around the back of the base and starts chopping down trees, collecting wood for a while. As he does, he casually comments on how bad this year has been, and says that he can't wait for 2026, confirming that these videos were recorded toward the end of 2025. Satisfied satisfied with how much he gathered, Arthur heads off to find a place to build. After walking a short distance, he settles on an area and starts constructing a small base. It's not anything massive, but it's something which is definitely more interesting than just an ordinary box. He lays down the frame, then fills in the roof and floor using slabs. When he finishes, Arthur mentions that he needs glass and heads out to find sand before Dalton joins the game. He finds some sand by the frozen lake, gathers what he needs, and slowly makes his way back home. We notice Dalton's name tag is visible in the exact area Arthur's house is, but when Arthur crests up the hill, Dalton is setting fire to Arthur's house. Arthur runs up, asking what is he doing. Dalton responds bluntly, calling the build trash. The structure burns down almost completely as Dalton continues, saying he can do better anyway. Surprisingly, Arthur doesn't dwell on it for too long. Instead, he says he's going to play a game. Dalton follows him back towards spawn, until Arthur stops near the end of the first parkour course they completed earlier. Nearby is another activity Arthur hasn't played yet, a different parkour section, this time on fences. He falls off the parkour, running back to try it again. And while doing so, Dalton asks a strange question.
How can you fail that jump again?
Arthur doesn't really react, he seems confused, but he continues anyway. Eventually he reaches the end of the parkour, where there is another question on a sign with multiple answers. Dalton arrives shortly after, and Arthur tries to answer the question, but clicks the wrong option, although Dalton reacts immediately.
How did you fail it? You won last time.
This is where things stop lining up. Arthur sounds genuinely confused.
What last time?
Of course it's possible Arthur played this off camera, but his reaction doesn't suggest that. He doesn't even laugh it off or acknowledge it. He sounds like he has no idea what Dalton is talking about. Dalton tells Arthur he needs sleep, repeating that they already did this game, to which Arthur reacts by typing out a question mark. He eventually says goodbye, telling Dalton that he ruined his mood and leaves the game. The video ends here, but something is clearly wrong. Arthur never played this game on camera and his confusion doesn't feel performative. Dalton, on the other hand, speaks as if this all has happened before. There's no clear explanation yet, and this is not the only video where things start feeling odd. Video 5 begins with Arthur and Dalton standing outside the last activity they played, agreeing to move on to the next one. Arthur climbs a ladder up to a platform, with Dalton following close behind. At the top, they are greeted with another normal question. Both of them write their answers into their books, then drop down into the water below. From there, they climb an even taller set of ladders to reach the second question. They complete it without much trouble and head back down, to be greeted by several more signs. One of them advertises an extra mark on their English paper. The question reads, "Determine if this question is true or false. This statement is false." Arthur answers, saying it has to be false, although,
Bro, you did it last time.
once again, Dalton refers to a last time. Arthur asks him what he's talking about, just like he did in the previous video. Dalton genuinely sounds confused by this, replying, "How can you get it wrong after getting it right?" Arthur grows visibly frustrated, asking Dalton what he's even saying before abruptly running off toward the next game. This one appears to be an ice boat race. The two grab their gear from the nearby chests and start racing. Dalton pulls ahead almost immediately and wins with ease. At the end of the course, there's another question, and once again Dalton insists they've already answered it. At this point, it's hard not to question whether Dalton is telling the truth at all. Is this just a way to mess with Arthur, to possibly confuse him for an unknown reason? Arthur says no, that they didn't do it, to which Dalton pushes back, asking what do you mean, saying quote unquote, "We already completed it." Arthur snaps back, suggesting it might have been someone else and how he didn't do this, before answering the question anyway. But things get stranger when Dalton says this:
You shaved half a second or so off your time this time.
At this point, either Dalton is lying convincingly, doubling down on details to make Arthur question himself, or Arthur genuinely doesn't remember the things he did. Arthur suddenly says he's done, that he's going to do something else, and the video cuts, returning to him completing what seems to be his new house. For a brief moment, Arthur turns back, almost confused, and types out, "Dalton?" Dalton replies with question marks. Arthur, visibly paranoid, gets out of the house and walks toward Dalton's base. When he makes it close enough, he sees Dalton inside the house, nothing off.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Dalton asks him what happened, and Arthur claims he heard something. Wait, heard what? I need to confirm this. I went back to the start of the clip again to notice that Arthur wasn't lying. There were clear footstep noises we could hear. Someone was outside Arthur's house. Arthur ignores this, saying it's probably a moderator, and returns back to his house, getting back to work, but more footsteps. At this point, something is undeniably wrong. Dalton continues insisting that Arthur has already played these games, while Arthur shows no sign of remembering any of it. And if Dalton is lying, he's doing an unusually good job of it. He sounds completely sincere, so whose footsteps are these? And do they have anything to do with Arthur being present in activities he swears he never played? Up until now, this could still be written off as coincidence, but this is the point where that explanation stops working. We have to move on to video 6, which starts off inside the house.
Alright, I'll just wait for someone to hop on the server since it's dead as usual.
Arthur heads downstairs, assuming he's alone, but almost immediately that assumption is proven wrong. A message appears in chat from someone named Cynthia. Arthur reacts like he already knows her. Just like with Dalton and Oakley, there's no introduction. He mentions that he thought she was on holiday, and Cynthia responds casually,
"Bro forgot, lol."
Arthur opens his chat, typing out a question mark for a moment, before hitting backspace and asking her to come to Group B to play another game. He walks towards spawn, and soon enough Cynthia walks up to the section. Arthur signals for her to follow and leads her back to the frozen lake area, pointing out the activity he hasn't played. Although Cynthia says this.
"Why again, lol?"
Arthur has never recorded himself playing this game. As far as we know, this is his first time here, and yet once again someone is treating this like a repeat. Arthur asks Cynthia if she's done this activity before, though her response only makes things worse.
"Yeah, me, Dalton and you did this last night."
Arthur immediately pushes back, saying he wasn't online last night, but Cynthia doesn't hesitate. She insists that he was, explaining that he kept dragging out the question. Arthur doesn't argue further. He just says alright and steps out onto the ice lake, but a moment later he stops.
Who put you up to this?
"What?"
The prank thing. Did Dalton tell you to say that?
At this point, it's clear Arthur genuinely believes he's being messed with, and it's hard to blame him. 3 different people have now independently claimed he's replaying events he has no memory of, but Cynthia doesn't break, asking him why would she prank him. Arthur ignores the message before getting to the question and starts doubting the answer, though she doesn't stop.
"Why are we doing this again? Don't act like you don't know the answer."
Arthur grows visibly irritated and asks her what he supposedly answered if he was really there. Cynthia replies with the answer, something Arthur says that he sure didn't do, though it keeps getting worse as Cynthia adds that he even showed her his notebook. He asks her to stop messing with him, but somehow she still denies that she's lying, saying she would have been more obvious with it. Arthur asks again, more directly,
Dude, be honest.
Before.
"Look, dude, I don't know anymore, but you were online and you even got annoyed after Dalton corrected you."
She sounds completely sincere. Arthur asks her what he did afterward, and she says he logged off after going to spawn. He says he's going to check on something and walks away from the activity, and the video ends there. I don't have to keep saying this, but there is something definitely off with these videos. Something about Arthur. If this is a prank, it's gone way too far for 3 separate people to keep it up this consistently, but I'm starting to believe it's not, and whatever Arthur went to check on has to be on this. Arthur seems to be walking towards spawn, the same direction he was walking to in the end of the last video. He keeps looking around, almost paranoidly, before... A player suspended in midair at spawn. Arthur walks closer, not really intimidated, and we soon get to see that this is a moderator, SRA Mod 1 to be exact. Arthur says hello, moving nervously, before we get a message from the mod.
You submitted it all yesterday. Good job.
This is no longer a coincidence. This is the fourth person who claimed that Arthur did something he didn't do on camera. Arthur asks the mod if this is a joke, only to get a menacing what, immediately backing off with a never mind. Though that is not all. He opens the notebook submissions chest to see a notebook inside, taking it into his inventory and opening it to see this. His name with the answers to everything. This is obviously not the same book Arthur had written on before. That book is the other one in his inventory. But if that part doesn't concern you, Arthur flips through the pages to see the answers to questions he didn't do, from other groups as well. Arthur types out to us, swearing he didn't do these and questioning who did it in place of him, before panicking and placing the book back, slowly returning back to Group B. The moderator drops a final message in chat though.
A new game will come tomorrow.
And Arthur replies saying he will be present tomorrow before leaving the game. But wait, who wrote this book? Could it still be a prank of some sort made possible by the other students of the server? Or is there something else? Well, the only possible way to know is by watching the next video. This is where things get interesting. Arthur is back on the server, and this time Dalton is online too. Dalton calls him over to spawn, saying there's a new game and nobody is joining yet. From what we can see, the game has appeared directly above spawn. Dalton asks Arthur if he wants to do it now, though Arthur doesn't really pay attention to the messages and walks directly to the notebook chest. The notebook is gone. Arthur pauses before closing the chest and backing off. He opens the book in his hotbar to check, but this is just his normal notebook. Dalton comes down from the game and Arthur asks him if he's completed the questions, dropping his book on the ground. Dalton hands it back, joking that he copied everything. If Dalton really was with Arthur during the games Arthur doesn't remember playing, then he should have seen the contents of the missing notebook, though he doesn't question anything. Arthur eventually says he has something to do near his house and asks Dalton to wait for the others to join, before going toward Group B. Whilst walking toward his house, Arthur looks around him even more paranoidly, opening his book and scrolling to the fourth page over and over again, almost like he's waiting for something to appear, until he stops, finally typing out to us.
I didn't take that book away. Was it the mods? I am not playing this game to see if this is a prank or not. Every time they say I have done something I haven't, it pisses me off.
Arthur is clearly upset now. He confirms he didn't take the notebook and that whatever is happening is getting to him. He closes the book, walks forward and then opens it again.
I wanna go far away and return.
And he does exactly that, leaving the area before crossing into Group D. At the same time, Dalton messages him saying this is taking too long before logging off for a tea break, leaving Arthur completely alone on the server. He doesn't log off though. He keeps walking, not in any specific direction, until he comes across another task, a parkour course. Arthur goes ahead and does the parkour to reach a question at the end, one that was done on the mystery notebook. Arthur recognizes it, confirming that he never did it, before randomly crafting a boat and iceboating on the lake, not really saying anything until he falls into a cave.
What the hell is this place?
The tunnel he's standing in doesn't resemble anything else on the server. It doesn't look like part of the educational map. It looks strange. The video ends here, but what did Arthur just discover? There are only 3 videos left on this channel, and if there is any explanation for what's been happening to Arthur, it has to be in those. It's time for video 9. Okay, maybe this video is just glitched. Surely video 10 is... never mind. It's got to be on the final video on the channel then, right? Oh no. Okay, there has to be a secret message in the descriptions of these videos. Nothing. In the playlists group C and D? Nothing. In the transcript, even if there is one? No. In the 3 videos itself? No. I was genuinely confused on where to go from here, and there was nothing within the past videos too. No codes or cipher. There was nothing noticeable at all. The only thing I thought I was onto was when Arthur kept pausing, opening his book, and then stopping at the 4th page around 2 times before finally writing on it. But that really didn't seem to mean anything. I was stuck. Although I noticed that these unavailable videos had their individual lengths, meaning these videos actually existed on this channel before being taken down in a way that just erased the video and audio. Not the interface of the YouTube video though. They do have a certain amount of views on each too, but why would these videos be unavailable? It can't just be corruption. So I got an idea. I downloaded the channel's public data archive. Not because I thought I'd magically find the videos, that's not how YouTube works, but because I wanted metadata. Things like upload times, processing logs, anything that could explain why they vanished. Instead I found something that shouldn't have mattered at all. We know that each of the unavailable videos still has a duration, and it's clear it has processing status and view count. They were deleted in an unusual way, almost as if they just cut all the footage through YouTube Studio. But buried deeper inside the export, each one also had something else, and it wasn't a URL, it was some type of ID. These IDs don't look anything like the 11 characters at the end of a YouTube link, so copying and pasting them into a browser did nothing. It practically looked meaningless until I noticed where they were listed. This wasn't under the video links, this was under generated media. So I went looking for where YouTube stores that, and inside the archive there was another folder. Media, processing media. I opened it just to see some random empty folders and broken files, although inside were the final 3 video files, 9, 10 and 11. But something was very wrong, because whatever deleted them didn't erase the footage, it just removed the version everyone was meant to see, and that reason has to be buried within these, starting with video 9. Which picks up exactly where the last one ended. With Arthur still inside the tunnel, he moves slowly, stopping often, looking back more than he looks forward, until the tunnel finally opens up to a staircase leading upward. Arthur hesitates at the bottom, then starts climbing, glancing behind him with every step, until... Footsteps. Arthur uncrouches to type.
Did I just hear something, or was that my imagination?
He pauses for a moment, then keeps going, slowly reaching the top of the stairs. Arthur stops completely. The space around him is completely empty, surrounded by an infinite sky, with nothing but white concrete making up the floor and ceiling. No signage, no indication that this area was ever meant to be accessed. It doesn't resemble anything else on the server. Arthur places a dirt block right near the entrance before taking some steps forward, questioning where he is, moving forward slowly and slowly before... Arthur is not alone. It's subtle, but we hear a single footstep, closer this time than before. Arthur immediately runs back, only to realize he's lost his way. He stops himself from going far, just taking small steps, and when he turns around, there it is, the dirt block he placed. He sprints toward it, but the entrance is gone. Arthur starts breaking the floor beneath him, trying to find the way back, but quickly gives up and runs in a random direction instead, running again, not knowing where he's led to. Before reaching a wall, Arthur walks closer to it, looking down to see a huge drop, not visible by the render distance, stretching to what seems to be the entirety of the wall itself before we hear a sound. Arthur starts following the wall quickly, still questioning where he is, before he sees water flowing down the crack. Arthur hesitates for a moment, unsure of going down, though he makes up his mind after hearing something again, and jumps.
I don't know why I'm going down, but I don't feel right.
Arthur reaches the bottom of the crack, which still seems to be made of white concrete, and he doesn't seem to be comfortable. I don't like this place. Arthur turns around to see the very water he came down from disappearing in front of him. With no way back, Arthur moves forward, still looking over his shoulder every few steps, until he sees light ahead. What lies in front of him is an even bigger hallway, filled with moss, flowers, and an eerie atmosphere. But the sound he hears seems to be coming from inside. Arthur walks onto the moss, slowly looking around, clicking a button and lever on the wall, repeatedly asking where he is, until he comes across a staircase.
I don't like this. I don't feel good about this place.
He takes a single step up, then stops, backing away without saying anything, staring at the staircase for several seconds before typing.
I wanna leave.
Arthur starts sprinting back, running to the start of the tunnel only to find it blocked off. He only has 3 choices: the first tunnel, the stairway, or the other tunnel, and chooses the first one, going inside before the footage ends abruptly. But it's clear to me that this video was deleted off the school's channel because of this possibly has nothing to do with the school itself. Whatever is going on, it's clearly out of the ordinary, and it's something that is only affecting Arthur. If we want to know where this path leads, we need to watch video 10. Arthur turns around and runs, almost as if he saw something, blocking up the tunnel behind him, and when he finally reaches the floor hallway again, he types out,
I swear I saw something. Where are my chats?
Although, before he can linger on that, Arthur hears a sound coming from the tunnel to the right and moves toward it, only to find himself walking into another passage that looks almost identical to the last one. But wait, going back, whatever made him run out of path 1 in the first place doesn't make sense. Watching it back, there's nothing obvious on screen, just grass. He reaches the end, doesn't go in this time either, and returns back to the intersection again, deciding what to do before he gathers the courage to go up. What lies in front of Arthur is strange but almost beautiful, filled with pillars in the distance and overgrowth everywhere he looks. The whole area feeling deliberate in a way the rest of the server never did. He walks down slowly, taking everything in. before he sees a player.
Who's there? Who are you? Someone is literally right there. It's not gonna let me leave. We have to move forward. Wait. That is not a player.
Arthur gets close to the armor stand and notices a sign next to it that reads only one word, you. There is also a skull behind it, but what is this meant to imply? There is no explanation to...
Who's there? I am not alone. I can confirm that.
Arthur goes back, moving forward, still taking everything in, walking right past the tree and coming across these huge, overgrown Venetian windows.
What is this place? Whatever it is, it's not natural. Did the mods build this? Someone is here.
Arthur runs, breaking the 2 blocks that were placed right in front of him, coming across an even larger hallway with pillars, doors and signs. But whoever this is, they're guiding Arthur somewhere. Arthur peers into one of the doors and can barely make out a sign that looks like it says proceed. Inside the opposite room, another sign makes it clearer. Proceed to the next room. Whatever this place is, it seems to be fully completed, as the signs next to the doors say, and Arthur keeps peeking through each door before breaking into one. To see a question that has an answer right beside it. Arthur questions the grade level of the question, meaning whoever completed the questions within these rooms had to know far more than he does, before getting out of the room, placing the blocks back and walking toward another room. But this one looks different. Arthur minds his way in to see an empty, unlit room with no texture, only a single sign inside, with the message, you, again. He just stands there for a moment, then says something that feels heavier than anything else so far.
What am I, anyways?
It's almost as if he's starting to question himself. Arthur leaves the room, patching up the blocks before looking into the opposite room, and goes further, passing a set of doors marked exit. One of them is open. The door closes right in front of him. Arthur goes up to the doors before breaking both of them and the footage cuts. The video ends. By now it's clear that whatever this entity or presence that seems to be luring Arthur somewhere doesn't want him to leave. The first entrance after the tunnel was blocked off, same with the flower hallway, the overgrown pillar area, and finally the new place as well. But why would it lead him straight to the exit? It doesn't make sense, and more importantly, why is this all in a server owned by a school? If there is anything, we have to watch the final piece of footage under processing media, video 11. Arthur is walking through the exit tunnel, moving forward, and forward, and forward, until he stops and turns around, running back. It seems like he can't decide, switching to going forward again before...
Have I made it yet to the exit?
If someone can live your life perfectly. What is this book? Arthur made it outside to this normal plains biome, but I can't shake the feeling that something is off, and he can't too. If someone can live your life perfectly, what does that make you? Arthur saw himself staring right back at him, but what did all this mean? Who is this other player with Arthur's skin and name tag? And more importantly, what did the sentence on the notebook mean? If someone can live your life perfectly, what does that make you? I don't know what this means, but if this other Arthur can log in when he doesn't remember being there, complete the task, submit the notebooks, answer the questions and be remembered by everyone else instead, then maybe Arthur was never being led somewhere in the first place. The empty rooms weren't just locations, they mirrored him. The buttons and levers that did nothing, the exits that closed off every time he went through them, none of it was random. Nothing he tried ever changed the outcome, because this version of Arthur was never meant to finish anything. He couldn't keep up, and when he finally thought he reached the end, the exit, he was shown the version that already had. Because if someone else can act like Arthur, be remembered as Arthur, author exist in this server as author, then this place never needed two of them. And whoever is standing there now isn't the real author, just the complete one.